super fast this morning. I didn't get my cup of coffee. How's everything going with you? Yeah, fill it out. So I was thinking with the picture, once you remove Eric Long, I want you to put pictures of like all the past events plus our pictures, like a collage. Yeah. No, but, I want you to add some of the pictures from our past. You know what I mean? But like a highlight art picture. But, yeah. Pictures and stuff, events or whatever, and then our pictures like in the forefront, you know what I mean? Then I think we do. They should be having featured about us. And hey, listen, in the top of the podcast website, is there anything we can populate in there? It's a lot of white space. What's your thoughts? Is there anything we can give it some pop or something, or nothing. I'm just trying to think it's one of those days, kid. At least you get to work from home now. I was thinking if it's going to take this long to wait for the woman with the, what do you call it? I might get the AI thing. Get kind of send us an invoice for 500. I just want to keep things moving. By the time you're done with that, you'll know what the hell you're doing, right? What do I do for our podcast? Orlando, baseball versus Lincoln. I think that's going to be good Sunday. And then we're going to go to first and third Sundays of the month. We'll still do the second Saturday thing, like just us. Might be in the location, depending on the meeting I have with the realtor. It oversees the museum area, which is, I think, nice. You know when you go to the bridge from the museum? That building right there. Good morning, Clubhouse. Good morning, the Creative Birth Strategies Podcast. Joe Scarice here, co-founder, co-host of the podcast, brought to you every Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, providing education, networking, and strategy. Very excited about having another powerful conversation designed to help real estate investors, landlords, professionals thinking sharper, structuring better, and growing stronger into today's market. At the Creative Birth Strategies Podcast, we believe in success in real estate, not just about finding deals. It's about understanding strategy, protecting profit, and building discipline. Today's discussion is all about creating clarity about the decisions that you'll make or break your next project. So I want to just thank you for coming in and listening today. This is going to be a slightly more energetic version for a live delivery. Good morning, and we're going to really be grateful for everybody's here discussing this, and we're going to really move it through. But let's dive in to make a valuable conversation. Give me 1 minute. I'm going to let some people in here. And for whatever reason, my thumbs are not working that quickly. But we'll get them up. We'll get them up here. Okay. Let's see here. Dave, how are you? Good morning.
Hi, doing well. How are you?
I went out, had some great time with some friends and family last night, and I'm seeing a little, I'm a little feeling my age a little bit. Just a tad, just a tad. It's okay. It comes with age, so you get to feel your age a little bit here. So, but thank you for coming in. Yeah, you ain't kidding. So today's subject, well, first we'll talk about the mortgage market itself and the real estate market for people just to get caught up. And excuse me, I got something in my eye. This week was really interesting. The rates stabilized, but didn't really drop fast. It really they're hovering around the mid high six to low seven. But I've been seeing 6.5, 6.75 on DSCR coming in, depending on credit score and the DSCR of the project, the asset type. The rates are what are going to be what they are for the time being. So we're capital markets have a lot of uncertainty and liquidity constraints in the private credit space is a little tough right now to take on. So cheap debt is not coming back quickly, but again, it's all about the structure. It's not about the rate. So I want to make sure I'm very clear about that. If you're structuring your loan correctly, it should work, right? So that's the first thing I wanted to talk about because the rates they went up about 120 basis points based on the 10-year Treasury this past 2 weeks since the Iran war started. So it'll be interesting to watch how that plays out. I mean, if they can get that canal all opened up and ready for ships to get through, I think barrels of oil will come down, inflation will come down. I think economic concerns will come down. The Fed watch, not cutting aggressively. The Fed is still just data dependent. Inflation has cooled, but not enough for aggressive cuts. Gradual easing, not a sharp pivot. My takeaway is don't underwrite deals assuming the rates will drop and bail me out. Underwrite the current debt plus conservative refinance assumptions. Housing supply is still tight where it matters. Inventory is rising slightly, but still historically constrained. Many homeowners are locked into sub 4% mortgages, so you're not going to see a lot of movement if they don't have to. Entry-level workforce housing remains undersupplied, and rent demand is still structurally strong. Rent and cash flow normalizing, not crashing. I feel like rent growth has flattened into many markets. Some areas seeing slight declines, others stable. The market is moving from an appreciation-driven investing space to a cash flow disciplined investing space. The DSCR reality is deals are getting tighter. Investors must lower leverage, buy better basis, or improve operations. Credit and liquidity, private credit market is still under a little pressure. Tightening guidelines, slowing funding, increasing reserves. Not all lenders are equal right now, and counterparty risks matter more than ever before. The deal didn't fail, the capital did. Is almost a strong message. Construction and value add still profitable but surgical. Construction costs stabilizing but will stay elevated. Lenders are scrutinizing experience, budget accuracy, contingencies, smaller, tighter projects, stronger general contractor relationships, which we're covering some of that today. Conservative timelines. What smart real estate investors are doing, buying with margin, lowering leverage 65 to 70% instead of 75 to 80, focusing on cash flow, keeping that debt service above 1.2 is almost becoming a standard, building liquidity, and choosing lenders carefully. Balance sheet strength matters, execution versus rate, staying away from the brokers and the correspondents and trying to identify true direct private lending balance sheet lenders. And my thoughts to kind of get things going here. Rate didn't kill deals. Weak structure did. Exposing over-leveraged investors, rewarding disciplined operators. Where are the rates going? Does this deal really work if nothing improves? So you got to base everything on the current condition. In today's market, structure beats rate. The investor who wins in 26 are underwriting reality, not hoping for relief. So a couple articles that caught my eye this week. U.S. homes. now taking 66 days to sell, slowest since February of 2016. Um, Very interesting perspective there. And one other article that caught my eye as well, U.S. rents fall for the 30th straight month, hitting 4-year lows. I do believe that. I think, I see that already in a lot of the urban settings. The rents are coming down. It's very interesting to watch because I see the suburban markets doing much better than the urban settings. So let's dive in to our subject here. Give me 1 second. Is how important, give me 1 second here. I'm trying to find myself. There you go. So we're diving into a topic that quietly determines whether your deal makes money or bleeds it out slowly. And that's what happens between scope and payout, with the scope of payout contract strategies with GCs and that protect profit, right? Because here's the reality. Most investors think the deal is one acquisition. The experienced ones knows it's won or lost in execution. The execution lives in 3 places: your scope of work, your contractor alignment, your draw and payout structure. If those 3 aren't engineered correctly from day one, you're not running a project. You're reacting to one. We've seen it too many times. Projects going over budget, timelines slipping, contractors getting paid ahead of progress, and investors stuck trying to protect margin after it's already gone. So today we're going to break down from a lender perspective and operator perspective, building a scope that actually protects your capital, structure, draws, so you can control your project, not the contractor, align incentives so everyone wins only when the deal performs. Because at the end of the day, profit isn't made in the flip. The profit is protected in the structure. And if you don't control structure, you do not control the outcome. Let's get into it. So we'll start out with some of our moderators this morning. Let's get a quick introduction from Mr. Yardell Perkins, our co-founder and co-host to the podcast. Yardell? Yardell going once? There you go. We should let the cat out of the bag. Yardell and I are doing a lot of AI video discussions and getting our podcast a little caught up with things, and we're focusing on some things on our CRM as well. So we're actually in April. We're cutting down to the first and third Sundays of the month because we're also doing a one-on-one podcast interview setting every second Saturday. So there's only so much time in the day to get some rest and recuperate and always provide really solid subjects. So we're shifting in a good way to the podcast growth. So I want to thank Yardell for allowing us to get to 150 plus episodes, 2 years of existence, and over 12,000 downloads on our podcast. So I'm really excited about that as well. So thank you, Yardell. So let's dive into this here. We'll go with ladies first, of course. Melissa, good morning and welcome. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to from scope to payout, general contractor strategies that protect profit.
Good morning, Joe. This is Melissa King with Busy Bee Virtual Solutions and now Care Bee Virtual Support Services. We help protect people's documents, digits, and decisions with QuickBooks desktop and online bookkeeping, as well as fabulous back office admin and notary services. I'm on the road today, Joe, driving to Lansing to hang out with my friend. 30 years. We worked together at Hospice of Lansing. So I wanted to make it a point to start getting out every quarter this business and to start talking about because it's all rating. Absolutely has to be put in writing. Even in my business, I put it in writing. Even if you just send it email, okay, it's in writing. Because if it's not in writing, it didn't happen. Right, Joe?
I 100% agree. Right, and safe travels to where you're attending your see your friends. A little brunch time sounds like a lot of fun.
Looking forward to it.
Excellent. So this, what Melissa was discussing, scope of work is one of probably the most important documents in rehab construction loan, especially for fixed to flip or BRRRR, fixed to rent strategies. In reality, it's not just a construction document. It's your business plan, underwriting blueprints, and risk control systems all in one. Why is this scope of work equal deal success or failure? It drives loan approval, not just the property. The lender don't fund ideas, they fund structured execution. The detailed scope tells the lender what exactly is being improved, how value and ARV will be created, and whether the project is realistic. If your scope is weak, appraisers struggle to justify ARV, underwriters increase risk assumptions, and you may get lower leverage, worse terms, or a decline. It controls your budget, protects your margin. Every dollar you don't define becomes a dollar you lose. A tight scope breaks down line item costs, labors, and materials, prevents scope creep, aligns contractors with expectations up front. A loose scope leads to change orders, budget overruns, margin compression. Most investors don't lose money on a deal, they lose it in the execution. It determines your draw schedule. Your scope directly impacts how when you get paid, draws. Lender structures draws based on phases of work, demo, rough, finishes, completion. Verified progress tied to scope items. If your scope is unclear, draw delays happen, contractors get frustrated, projects stall. It anchors the appraisal as well and the ARV. The appraiser uses your scope to answer, what will this property look like when complete? Your scope should clearly communicate levels of finishes, layout changes, functional upgrades. No clarity equals conservative ARV, less leverage. It aligns all parties as well, the investor, the lender, the contractor. Think of the scope as a contractual truth. It aligns your expectations, your contractor deliverables, your lender inspection checkpoints. Without alignment, disputes increase, timelines extend, and execution breaks down. What a weak scope looks like: full rehab, no too vague. No cost breakdown, no sequencing or phases, missing major systems, roof, plumbing, electric, no contingency planning. What's a strong scope look like? Investor level, line item detail, kitchens, baths, flooring, cost per item plus total budget, clear construction phases, finish level defined, timeline aligned with draw schedule, includes a 5 to 10% contingency. We always include a 10% contingency as a lender. So you can't kind of come up with a number. Fix and flip scope of work is much different in design and resale driven, where fixed to rent scope is durability and cash flow driven. High level truth of all this: structure beats rate. Add the scope of work is the scope of work is the foundation of that structure. You can get a great rate, but if your scope is weak, your timeline slips, your budget breaks, your profit disappears. So also another thought. Depending on your experience level in the last 3 years is how it's looked at. So 0 to 2 deals, your rate is roughly 10.99 and 2 points. From 3 to 4 deals, you're somewhere around 9.99 and 1.5 on origination. When you get the 5+ deals successfully completed and held or flipped, you're at 8.99 and 1.5 on origination. That is very inexpensive money. That gets you to that is a very good cost, where years ago rates were like 12-14%, 2-3 points on origination. You were paying almost 20% on your money. You're right now paying close to only 10% all in with no prepayment. Dave, good morning. Welcome. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning from Scope to Payout, general contractor strategies that protect profit.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's going on? So, Dave Bergio, owner founder of Trifecta Credit Solutions in Allentown, Pennsylvania. We're out.
Event that we paddled together, wasn't it? There up in Lehigh Valley.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
You'd be amazed how hard it is to extract specific numbers from an investor in a conversation. It's like pulling teeth sometimes. I'm like, listen, I just need three numbers. I need what you're buying it for, what is the rehab cost with the 10% contingency, and what's your after repair value. There shouldn't be a variable. You gotta be intentional. You know what I mean?
yeah, and be direct. And I think a lot of times, like with people, they don't get that from.
So, I mean, with the construction scope of work spreadsheets, and I want to dive into this real quick to complement what Dave said. A good trusted team of expert lenders should be able to provide that to you. I provide a very good construction scope of work spreadsheet to all my clients. Why? I want them to be prepared. Okay. These templates should include a line item scope, demo, framing, electrical, labor or material breakdowns, timeline and start finish dates, payment and draw schedule, responsibility assignments. A proper scope should clearly define the deliverables, timelines, responsibilities, and payment structure to avoid disputes and overruns. Free templates are too generic. You need to get it right from a lender. So if anybody listening in this morning, love to provide that to you. You send me an email or a text with your full contact information, and I'll send it to you. My number's in my profile. My email's in my profile. I'm not too hard to find. You can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, all those good places. But my contact information is pretty available if you just look me up. And I'll get that out to you because you need to build knowledge of this over time with cost per line item based on your market, draw triggers, inspection based, percentage completion per phase, contractor payout alignment. That's where you separate yourself from average investors. Okay. Are there classes to learn this? Yes. And This is where most real estate investors level up, more in that local in-person networking groups like a RIA, contractor meetups, like a builders association, fix and flip workshops. Don't go heavy into paying big money for, these sellathon type of things. You really just want to learn the basics: scope writing, rehab budgeting, contractor management. A lot of universities now have real estate courses on this, and there's also online platforms. Search for construction project management certificate, residential rehab estimating course. There's some good platforms like Udemy, Udemy, Builder Trend, Build Book Training, or Coursera, Coursera. Real world is most valuable. The best classes have walk properties with contractors, reviewing real scopes from GCs, and comparing bids line by line. What most investors get wrong is key. They think a scope is kitchen, 15 grand. That's not a scope, that's a guess. A real scope looks like demo cabinets, 1,200, electrical rough, 2,500, plumbing rough, 1,800, cabinet install, 4,500, countertops, 3,200, plus material spec, paint and finish, 1,000. This level of detail protects your margin, controls your contractor, and aligns with a lender draw schedule. Advanced strategies that where you will win. Tie this back to your lending philosophy. Structure beats rate. Your scope should match draw schedule, match inspection checkpoints, match exit strategy, flip versus refi. If your scope is weak, the budget is wrong, your loan sizing is wrong, your deal is exposed. If you want next level, you could build a custom investor grade scope spreadsheet, rehab line items, full template, build in cost estimation, draw schedule integration, flip versus burr version, or debt service refinance alignment, making sure that you can get out. Felix, good morning. Thank you for your patience. Brief overview: who you are, what you do, and thoughts too, from scope to payout, general contractor strategies that protect profit.
Grand Rising Joe, Grand Rising everybody. Always thank you for having me. Felix Buchanan Sr., the J-Woods Group, Buchanan Business Enterprises.
And that event you had in Baltimore, was that the happy hour down at the lounge?
Yes.
Oh, so there was an opportunity to present as well now.
Yeah, because what we did, I,
So yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, yeah. You got to make something spicy with these events. You got to walk away with something, hopefully with a nugget of information, and get and be just excited about going to the event. You know what I mean? Like if it's just the same old thing, it's going to be very tough to keep that excitement going in regards to you know attracting people, even if the subject looks good, because people get bored with it. So glad things are working out there. Very much for you, Felix, and I'll definitely have to get myself down there one of these upcoming months as well.
absolutely, and I'll tell you that it's so. It's,
Now, tying into what Felix was talking about, you create profit when you buy, but you only realize it when you execute and exit. The burst strategy where money is made by rehab, rent, refinance, repeat, where profit is created is at purchase. And your rehab, you have to have enough margin for rehab in that, so the refinance will obviously make sense with a created equity on the back end. It has to be engineered from the beginning. Where is profit realized? At the refinance when it comes to these rehabs, right? You're not putting chandeliers up for a rehab to hold. You're making the unit strong and long lasting. You want to use good hard laminate flooring, good countertops, good backsplashes, because your tenant's going to wear it out. But then you got to worry about the turnover on that. When that tenant stays for 2 years and then leaves, how much work you're going to have to redo to reoccupy it, right? So you really want to put time into that renovation the right way. When it's a flip, it's different. You're selling it to entice somebody to live there to own. So it's completely different, right? So those rehabs they go two different lanes, and where people get hurt is they overestimate ours, they underestimate the rehab, weak scope of work, budget overruns, and rents don't support the debt service coverage ratio. They thought they made money when they bought, but they didn't. Fix and flip, where the money really is made, if the deal doesn't work on day one, it won't magically work later. Where's profit realized? You only get paid when you exit. Market timing matters, and holding costs eat margin dailies. Where flips fail is scope creep, contractor misalignment, delays, interest, carrying cost, overpricing the exit. The truth most people miss: you make money when you buy is half true. The full truth is you make money when you buy if you execute correctly, because buying right equals margin potential, execution equals margin protection, exit equals margin realization. Your style, this is where your messaging hits. Structure beats rate. I'm telling you, this is what you have to look at it. Purchase price is right, the scope is tight, the draw schedule is controlled, the exit is pre-engineered. Everyone says you make money when you buy, but that's only true if your execution doesn't destroy your margin. And then also Felix brought up, are structural issues to a house a non-starter? And the short answer is no. Structural issues are not automatically a deal killer, but they can be if you don't understand them, price them correctly, or structure the deal properly. Typical structural problems include foundation cracks or shifting, settling uneven floors, failing beams or joists, water intrusion affecting structure, and roof framing issues. These aren't cosmetic, they impact safety, value, and financeability. When structural issues are deal killers, you can't accurately diagnose the issue. No engineering contractor will put a scope or cost on paper. Repair cost is too high relative to ARV. The deal becomes too thin after repair. You're new and don't have a contractor control. Like for a newbie, I would not go deep into a heavy structural issue. Uncertainty equals risk, and risk kills deals. When structural issues are an opportunity, strong investors lean into these deals when others are scared, less competition. You get a deep discount on purchase. Repairs are clearly defined and priced. You built in a contingency somewhere between 10 and 20%. And the exit still works, whether it's a flip or DSCR refinance. This is where deals are manufactured, not found. Where most investors get burned, oh, it's just a crack. Scope wasn't detailed, the repair doubles mid project, timeline extends, holding costs eat margin. Structural issues don't kill deals. Misdiagnosing them does. From my perspective as a direct private lender, many lenders might not fund a structured deal. They require detailed scope of work, licensed contractor bids, sometimes engineering reports, and controlled draw schedules. Weak scope equals no deal. Strong structure equals fundable deal. Structural issues aren't a deal killer, but uncertainty is. Good morning, Miss Steph. Jay, wow, long time no see. Nice to see you come up real quick here to say hello. Want to give a quick introduction to who you are, what you do, and thoughts to from scope to payout, general contractor strategies that protect profit.
Good. I'm Steph Jacobson. I'm a commercial broker in upstate New York. Joe, I was talking to a mutual friend about you. Do you know Nick Castronova?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I was talking to Nick about you this week.
Yeah.
You come up on my radar in my real life. I like that.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm actually going to be up in Syracuse in next month for a couple of days, Syracuse and Rochester, and then I'm actually presenting at the Keller Williams for CE accreditation for licensed agents in Syracuse in May.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. I may be able to be there for that.
I'll send you the details once it's all locked in. Yeah.
We get all of the early information there.
Yeah, but it's going to be a private thing where I have to invite you. So I don't know if KW will advertise it for outside their staff, but I'll definitely make sure that I send you the flyer so you can come over and get credits as well.
That's the invite. I don't know. I know what you're talking about, but okay, yeah, keep me posted.
Absolutely. So, what's your thoughts on our discussion today?
Well, from the broker perspective, there's a crazy thing, and as Joe mentioned, I'm in Syracuse, so we've got all this hullabaloo going on. Now, Syracuse is a tertiary market in upstate New York. It's a good-sized city relative to the rest of the country, but it's not New York City. So anyway, that's kind of the landscape here. We've got Micron, the $1 billion semiconductor plant. And so this is shaking up the entire multifamily market in addition to manufacturing and all of that. Right. So there's just been a lot of sudden change in the market. So we need you to give us a $40,000 reduction. And that's the way you want to do that. Once you have your inspection in your hand, that's when you go to your contractor and you say, hey, I've got this very detailed report. Can you look it over and give me a ballpark? And that 70-page home inspection document is going to be enough for your contractor to give you some pretty good information on. So that's my top point. Don't ever, I don't care what the circumstances, do not skip your home inspection.
I think this is a very powerful subject, Steph. I think because I think the inspection is where amateurs look for problems and professionals look for leverage. You know, it's not just a checklist; it's a risk audit, negotiation tool, scope builder. So, you know, are you seeing more investors that are out of state, of course, I would say, align a licensed home inspector in your market with the GC that they're hiring just to make sure apples are apples? Are you seeing that more?
It doesn't always need to be that way. So the home inspector who is local, so I've got a guy in Syracuse, he knows every contractor and he knows who does good work and who does bad work because he sees it, right? So I always go to him first and say, hey, who's the best person for this job? So that home inspector will usually recommend, oh, for the tile or for the roof or for the foundation, I would do this guy. So a lot of time, especially in a smaller tertiary market, they all know each other, and that's enormously helpful. But I think any decent contractor can look at any good home inspection and give you a pretty good idea of what to look at.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they most investors will look for the cheapest inspector or treat it like a formality. What they should do is find inspectors who work with investor flippers, do break down things by severity and cost impact. I think inspectors should even have construction background. You know, I mean, I feel like that's the most looked over industry when it comes to real estate investing and the general scope of work.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you, I'm in a couple different markets. So I have a favorite inspector in Binghamton and a favorite inspector in Syracuse. And both of those guys, I warn my buyers, they're absolute drama queens. They're going to walk in and they're going to tell you, this is the worst house in Onondaga. And that's exactly what you want to hear out of your home inspector, because you got to get a thick skin. But a good home inspector is going to go in and he's not looking at how pretty the tile is. He's not looking at the nice layout of the bedrooms and how much potential. He's looking for how old is this furnace? How much moss is on that roof? How many times have these joists? He's run around with one eyebrow in the air, highly suspicious. And then again, the thick skin part comes in and that like your spreadsheet is going to dictate what you can do. So if you're buying a house that has a high enough ARV that you can put $30,000 into the foundation and you're very confident about that, then $1,000 foundation or is a deal, right? So you have to use your own experience and your spreadsheet, and of course your leeway and your holding costs and all that stuff. But like Joe is saying, a foundation problem, a major roof repair or whatever is not a deal killer if your spreadsheet allows it. But at the end of the day, you want the most dramatic, pessimistic home inspection, and you want to think.
Well, it's funny that you say that because I feel the home inspection is almost like an additional scope of work to compare to tighten up your contingency, because all lenders now are using a 10% contingency, whether they're telling you that or not in your construction budget. So wouldn't that home inspection tighten that up a little bit to keep it either at 10% or under or on point, or pop up the rehab cost because it was something they found?
Yes, and this is where your team comes in, like you're saying, Joe. It's like you want to, the home inspector is going to tell you everything that's wrong, but keep in mind he's not an investor. So he's my most dramatic home inspector will identify cracks in the tile as trip hazards. He really does, right? And then he'll put 15 notes for cracks in the tile or not secured transitions in the floor or whatever, right? So it's like he'll say this, and then people see these 15 problems, and they go, "Oh my gosh!" And it's like, okay, it's literally an issue of a nail gun or laying some good solid vinyl floor, whatever you're going to do, right? So the home inspector is not thinking like an investor would. So keep that in mind. But he's also not allowed, right, his license to give you consent. He may tell you personally, oh, one guy to another, this floor. But he's not able to give you a real form. It's a conflict of interest for your home inspector. So you really need that your home inspector and home inspectors in the final leases.
So I want to get one last thought from you. Of course, the home inspection on the front side is extremely important, but I have been suggesting to investors to get a home inspection when you're ready to give that last draw to the GC to complete the work. Send that same home inspector back in to make sure that the subs or any of the other work that was done that the GC might not be aware of doesn't meet expectations, where now we're chasing the GC to get them back because now they've moved on to another project. They got paid, and you have work that now you got to maybe even hire a button-up person to come in to finish the work, where it throws your contingency way off. What's your thoughts to that? Because I don't think people ever think about that.
Yeah, that's your favorite home inspectors will do a re-inspection for $100. And what that means is you're already a client of theirs. They've already looked at this house. They've already done the report, right? So towards the end of your final draw, again, before your contractor disappears or before he schedules other work, as many good contractors will, like you said, you want to spend your $100 or your $150 or whatever he's going to charge for a re-inspection. He's going to walk back through. He's not going to give you a new report, or he may give you a little write-up, but it's not going to be a whole new process. And he's going to come back and look at those same issues he already found. This is crucial, but it's not quite fail-safe because the third variable is the appraiser. When the appraiser comes back in on behalf of the bank after your scope of work is complete, the appraiser may find stuff that even the inspector, the appraiser may be worried about stuff that the inspector was not concerned. So yes, it is a brilliant idea to have your home inspector who did your original inspection come back and do a little mini walkthrough so that you can finalize things with your contract. But remember to have all of those because your appraiser may come in and fix it.
Yeah, this is one thing that glares in my mind. I'd rather pay for a whole full-blown new inspection on the back end, and you want to know why, Steph? What if you're flipping the property? What is the buyer going to potentially order the minute they put your property under contract?
Now that's a good point. You can take that full inspection updated report and turn it around to the buyer and save some time. Yep.
Put it in the seller's disclosure. Hey, listen, I'm giving you very little room to negotiate. Yeah, I'll give you some seller assist, but I'm not backing down from my price because we addressed this. Oh, and by the way, I'm giving you a home warranty policy to carry that forward, that the deal once you buy it. So like you're almost reassuring these individuals that your seller's disclosure, that you are fulfilling what needs to be correctly filled out. How many people get sued because the seller's disclosure it doesn't match up with the finished work? How does the investor really know that was done?
Yeah, that's a great point. And the other thing, when we were talking about don't ever buy a house without a home inspection, well, as the seller, that flips a little bit, right? When I'm representing the buyer, an inspection is a must. When I'm representing the seller, and now I have the seller's best interest at heart, any buyer that's not also my client, I'm going to say, well, they want to spend the money without the inspection, that's on them. This will, you could do a final walkthrough for $100, or you could do another inspection for $300 to $600, depending on the size of your property and how many units. But at the end of the day, if you are providing a home inspection when you turn to sell the property, you'll get a bunch of as-is offers because they've already seen the report. And that's enormously beneficial. So that's great.
So what market are you liking a little more? I know the Macron thing throws a lot of energy towards Syracuse, but I'm seeing a lot of energy up in Albany right now. I went to the Capitol RIA up in Albany, packed, 130 people in the room. It was crazy. I couldn't believe how packed it was.
I'll tell you, that would be oh boy, it's going to be hard for me to be the big.
Yeah, I think Binghamton, Syracuse are going to do well. I think Albany, I think Rochester is losing a lot of its luster. I don't know. It was one of the top markets in the country for years to go to for multifamily buildings and stuff. And you don't see it ranked as it once was. I feel like the political system is making it very constrained for the real estate investor to grow and scale more so compared to Binghamton, Syracuse, Albany, even in Buffalo. I hear good things in Buffalo. I haven't been there in quite a long time, but when I was there, it was pretty scary. But now I hear it's improved quite a bit. But yeah, I just was up in Albany, and that was a really good event. I'll probably be going to that event probably every other month. And Rochester, I'll go once every 4 months as well. The Syracuse REIT is very small, but
Yeah,
I've met some good people there. Yeah, it's only about like 25 people at best at the event itself, but you get a finger on the pulse at least of what's going on locally there. But
One other thing I'll mention, Joe, is that the good cause evictions are spreading. This policy is spreading like wildfire across New York State, and that's having impact. So I'm actually not familiar with which other states are adopting good cause, and saying that if you're doing any kind of if you're and you don't always do this on a flip, but for a burr, if you're trying to get tenants in, right, and then you're going to sell a cash flowing property that you stabilized and leased, good cause is going to impact you. So the policy is essentially you must renew a lease, even if you don't like the tenants, even if they're dirty, even if they skipped 2 months and you didn't do a formal eviction, now they got to stay. So good cause eviction is actually becoming a scary policy for a lot of landlords, particularly out of state investors who would normally consider my markets. And some places have, like in Binghamton, for example, Binghamton has 3 cities sort of all together. So it's Binghamton, Johnson City, and Endicott. The city of Binghamton adopted good cause. Johnson City and Endicott didn't. So what happened? All the investors moved to Johnson City. They knew they weren't that worried. So that local policy piece is also.
well, good cause eviction law limits a landlord's ability to remove tenants or raise rent without a legally valid reason. And I just want to simplify it for everybody because Stephanie brought a very good subject up to tie into what we're talking about. You can't just renew a lease or raise rent aggressively. You must have a good cause. So what counts as a good cause? Non-payment of rent, lease violations, property damage, owner move in some cases, taking the unit off the market with restrictions. What is not allowed, I want a higher paying tenant, arbitrary non-renewals, major rent increases beyond allowed thresholds. This is where investor strategies change. Okay, so rent increase restrictions, most good cause laws include rent caps tied to inflation. So like the CPI inflation rate is something they keep in mind. Where this exists right now is New York and New Jersey. New York has statewide good cause eviction recently passed, applies to many non-rent stabilized units, major shift for investors. New Jersey already has strong tenant protections. Many towns have rent control ordinances. What does this mean for the real estate investor? You could lose some control of your exit. You can't easily remove tenants, harder reposition properties quickly, especially impacts BRRRR strategy and value add multifamily. And I feel like the rent growth will become capped, limits upside projections, and forces more conservative underwriting. So tenant quality becomes extremely critical. You're not just renting to somebody, you're potentially entering a long-term legal relationship. There's asset selections. Yeah, I mean, vacant or lightly occupied properties, asset selection matters more than ever, Stephanie. So are you seeing that impact the multifamily space too?
Yeah, and I was going to say on the ground where it impacts you is I see it in 2 spaces most often. So one, let's say that you find a duplex that's reasonably priced for your BRRRR and you're excited. It's in an up and coming area and it needs some aesthetic work and it's in good condition and all that. But you've got 2 tenants, let's say the market rent is 1,000 and the tenants are paying $650 because they've been there a long time and a local investor is selling it and they just haven't raised rents or whatever. If tenant A just pays his rent every other month and you haven't been able to go through court to establish, hey, this guy is really skirting the law. He's causing financial hardship for me. Any court in my region is going to look at that and say, well, he pays every 60 days. That's not enough to really do anything about it. So you're going to have to live with it. So you have to renew his lease even with that rental history because the eviction court has, if they'll even hear your case, has decided that that's reasonable. And he may be able to just say, well, I get paid every other week, or I'm on contracted labor, I'm paid on commissions, I can't do it. And they're going to say, that's reasonable. So now, not only can you not get him out, but you also can't raise his rent. I believe it's a 3% year over year increase unless something happens like a significant tax assessment increase that pushes your taxes through the roof. So one is the tenant who's minimally performing and they're paying low rent. That's where it's going to get, because you can't get them out and stabilized like your BRRRR plan would like you to. The other, and this is a lot more difficult, is like grandma and grandpa. You go in there and there's an old lady who's been there since 1993 and it's her home and her rent is still 500 and it should be 1200 because she's in this cute little 2-bedroom because she can't do a thing about grandma.
Sure that everybody that's listening in, we're not attorneys. We don't play one here on as well on Clubhouse and or podcast. So I want to make sure that Steph and I are not attorneys. We're not giving you legal advice. But the big one with the rent increase restrictions, most good cause laws include rent caps tied to inflation. The example framework, now again, this varies by state and city. CPI inflation plus a fixed percentage, often somewhere between 5 and 10%. If you exceed this, your tenant potentially can challenge it. I would definitely refer to a good leasing attorney in your market, the immediate market, somebody that's at eviction court time to time, somebody that's staying very focused on how the law is growing and scaling against the landlord. And this ties right back to scope of work and what type of work you're going to do to make sure it stabilizes to justify your profitability from day one. Day one, not day 12, day one. The minute that property stabilizes, you better have the right market rent in place. And Felix, you want to add something? Finish up?
Yeah, I had a question because these, because I just for a loop.
Unless you have a good reason, like in my most strict county, it's 4 months of non-rental payment is a good reason, but then you have to start your eviction process, which is 3 months. So 4 months of non-payment, or if they've breached the lease in some other way. Let's say like you can sometimes get away with their smoking in the apartment, and I have photographic evidence that they've damaged, or they have multiple animals in the apartment and the lease says no pets and they've caused damage. You have to prove that the breach is causing you hardship in order to say I'm not renewing your lease, and you have to go through the court to do it. So it's incredibly restrictive.
Yeah, some players crazy.
It's totally two different things.
Only cities that have adopted rent control are New York and Buffalo.
Yeah.
So every other city. So rent control is Mrs. Smith has been here since 1984, and her rent will stay at $300 until she and all of her inheritance die, or vacate the unit. Right? That's rent control. So that is not an issue outside of downtown Buffalo or the suburbs. The rest of the state is deciding whether they're going to adopt a good cause, which does limit rent increases, but not like rent. So a rent controlled unit is regulated by the municipality. A good cause increase, you just, if the tenant complains, you have to show, hey, I had to raise beyond 3% for this reason. So they are different.
To what you were saying, like Philadelphia is moving toward this, and it's getting ugly. You're seeing a definitely a migration of the landlord out coming out of the urban settings and going more into suburban settings surrounding Philadelphia, which is a very strong rental market. Even in the South Jersey corridor, right over the other side of the river, like Gloucester, Cumberland, Salem, Atlantic County, have become much stronger because of the rhetoric of the what the landlord has to go through just to turn a unit in Philadelphia. It's getting extremely difficult. You could look it up. The landlord association HAPCO is pushing a lot, but you got a political system that is in favor of the tenant. They don't want to hear about the big bad landlord. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's not always.
I get just getting very tough out there in this market. And this ties back to what we're talking about with you got to complete the property correctly on a general construction perspective, where Steph and I dug real deep into it. Listen, I've only gotten one email from somebody, and I want to thank them. I saw it come in asking for the general construction scope of work that we use as lenders. All of you should be emailing me. Like, if you don't have that general construction scope of work, Felix, I know you have it. So I know you don't even have to ask. I know Dave has it. You got to text me your email. I'll send it out.
I have used a number of times.
Well, I got a new one.
My clients use Joe's scope of work.
Oh, well, thank you. I have a new one, a newer, more updated one. So you might like it. So if you text me your email, there you go. I'll get it out. I mean, yeah. Listen, guys, this conversation was very well rounded in what we were trying to accomplish here. I'm very excited about this discussion, and I want to thank everybody. I want to thank Yordell, Felix, Stephanie, Melissa, Dave. This was a great discussion, really intensified. This podcast is just getting better and better. It's hard to kind of walk away from doing this on a day, week in, week out basis. Again, my name is Joseph Scarice. I'm a nationwide direct private lender, senior account executive at Park Place Finance. We do fix to rent, fix to flip loans starting at 8.99. We do ground up construction loans starting in the high single digits. Our DSCR rates are very competitive. We're somewhere around 6.5 right now, give or take, depending on what type of leverage. The ones that want the cake, the icing, and the candles too, they're going to pay for rate. But it's about structure. It's not about the rate. It's about the deal. Does it make sense in regards to the renovations and the stabilization of that property and that asset? So I want to, again, thank everyone this morning. Great room. I want to just, thank everybody. We do have a couple events coming up this month. If anybody's willing to come out, we have an ultimate underwriting class in Lehigh Valley with Dave Bergio at his offices. That would be the third Saturday from 9 to 3 on that day. Third Saturday. Very excited about that class. It's going to fill up pretty quick. I'm not going to allow more than 15, 20 people because I want people to walk away, how to underwrite, how to really look at a deal, how to be a better investor, better real estate professional, and or be a better capital partner broker. We also have a cigar event coming up this month coming up. I think it's the second Wednesday at Cigars International in Bethlehem. We do have our second Saturday podcast that we do live in Philadelphia at my office. And then I know we got a couple sprinkled other things. I know I'm definitely going to be speaking up in May in Syracuse at the KW office up there, teaching CE, continuing ed, for licensed agents. And if there's any agents listening in this morning, I can offer a 2 or 3 credit CE course in just about any state in the country for licensed real estate agents to better understand asset-based lending, non-QM lending. You need to know this. I mean, it's very much on the forefront. So again, great day, great week, be well. And my quote this morning, your life is a reflection of your choices. If you want better results, make better decisions. Great lives are built one great choice at a time. Be blessed. I'll see you next Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I will be ending the room in the next 30 seconds. And thank you.
Everybody have a great day.
Okay.